Hey guys, it's Kid Comics, and today I want to discuss what's going on within the comic book community and all of the hate going on with comic book companies that grade comic books like CGC, CBCS, or even PGX, and just graded comic books overall and the hate that they seem to be receiving. In this video, I want to go over some of the benefits and some of the problems of, graded comic books. And this video is inspired by another great comic book channel, otherwise known as Comic Book Investments, where he released a video a couple days ago talking about similar stuff to what I'm going to be talking about in this video. I'm just here to comment on what he said in this video. So before you see this video, make sure to go check out his most recent videos. So without further ado, let's begin the video. Now, like I stated, this video is going to be inspired by another comic book channel, Comic Book Investments. Make sure to go check them out. But I'm just going to be talking about some of the benefits and some of the problems, which may have solutions, to graded comic books and graded comic book companies overall. So, to kick it off, we actually have restored books. Now, I do have an example right here. This is Captain America 115. This is a CGC 7.0, and as you can see, this purple label shows that this book has been restored. And a restored comic book is a book that has been physically altered to make the book's condition look or appear way better than the original book's condition. So as you can see, this book has had its cover cleaned. Pretty much, one of the great things that CGC or any graded comic book company can do is they can detect restored comic books. And just like this one, someone might have sent in this comic book unknowing that this book could be restored. And that's one of the great things that CGC or any other graded comic book company can do. And they can even do this stuff with qualified books, otherwise known as books missing stuff like a panel or coupon or pages or whatever. And another great thing is that they can also authenticate signatures and detect if any signature is actually real. So, like here, I have a Marvel Spotlight 32. This is signed by Sal Buscema. Pretty recent signature. It's 2021. But pretty much, he worked on this book to create the first appearance of Spider-Woman. Now, let's pretend that this is an unauthenticated signature. It's a raw book you're about to send in to whatever graded company that you like to send your books into, and you want it to see if it gets actually authenticated. One of the great things that these graded comic book companies can also do is they can authenticate these signatures. Now, especially when authenticating signatures, this is actually extremely beneficial to the person that is, trying to keep the book or sell it, especially selling it, because it could be some type of signature, like a Stan Lee signature, or Neil Adams, or surprisingly Jack Kirby's signature, which back then, CGC really didn't exist when Jack Kirby was alive. So most of the graded comic book companies have to authenticate signatures like his. And it's really beneficial in maintaining a higher value in some of these comic books. Now, to talk about the value of comic books. Most comic books aren't really that valuable unless they're a key. So the book I wanted to show you guys is my dad's New Mutants 98 and a 9.4 newsstand. Now, this is a pretty big book considering this is the first appearance of Deadpool. Now, whatever or whoever sent this book into CGC probably knew that this was a pretty important key comic book. And one of the great things that these graded companies can do is they set a defined grade or condition for the book, which then gives a value for it. So, let's say this New Mutants 98, someone might say that it's a 9.2. Some other people might say it's a 9.6 to 9.8. But when you set it in a CGC or a graded company, that book gets an automatic defined grade. And although it is an opinion, it is still a defined grade by, a certified grading company. Whereas, listening to some random person that really doesn't know that much about grading, I definitely choose the first option with the graded companies. So yeah, one of the great things they can do is they can define a value for certain books, like this New Mutants 98, which I think goes around for maybe $500, I think. I haven't checked. It's been quite a while since I've checked New Mutants 98's value in this type of grade. But anyways, that's just another great thing that these graded comic book companies can do. Now, obviously, graded comic book companies and graded comic books overall, they obviously have some flaws to it. And one of their biggest flaws with graded comic books is that you can't read the inside of a book. Because when you get a comic book graded, you really can't take out the comic book unless you have to, you know what I mean, cut open the case and manually take out the book from its casing, which is kind of just throwing away money in my opinion. Now, there are actually a couple of solutions to fix this problem of reading some pretty big key books. The first solution to this problem is buying a low-grade reader copy of the book. Now, this is an Incredible Hulk number 340. It's a pretty mid-grade condition book, but nonetheless, this is still a solid, presenting book, and very happy to be able to read this without, caring too much about damaging the book, which is very, a big problem with some of these big keys. Like, imagine trying to read something like an AF-15, which I know sounds ridiculous, but imagine trying to read an AF-15 and accidentally ripping one of the pages or, like, the cover a little bit. That would be detrimental. But anyways, just being able to have a low-grade reader copy of the book, especially for cheap, is really good to be able to read this book. And there's also a couple of other ways. Like, you could get a facsimile version, like my New Mutants 98. I'm pretty sure there's definitely a couple of facsimile versions of this book somewhere out there. But you could buy a facsimile of this, or you could buy this book and many other books in an omnibus, which, for those of you who don't know, omnibuses are pretty much just a bunch of comic books put together in one, usually from a series like the New Mutants, and you get to read them all. So yeah, you could also just read it online. But yeah, that's a pretty big solution to one of the biggest problems with graded comic books. Now, although this is a relatively short video, I'm going to wrap things up here. Now, there are definitely some other things I could talk about with problems-wise with CGC and graded companies and graded comic books overall, and there are also some good things I could talk about. But I just wanted to talk about some of the main, factors within comic book grading and graded comic books overall. And with certain books like, my dad's Werewolf by Night 32, I'm actually pretty happy to be able to send this into a graded company sometime in the foreseeable future, because then I know the book will actually get a set defined value, and, we can tell if the book has actually been altered or not, because, who knows what actually happened to this book, because I believe my dad bought this book used at a comic shop a while ago. Obviously, this was like the 80s or something. I think I still have the backing board, but it says $7, Werewolf by Night 32 in like 1989 or something like that. I'd have to check and show you guys, but anyways, I just think that graded comic books and their companies are really beneficial overall, and I don't think they really deserve the hate that they're getting, especially in the comic book community. And also, yet again, make sure to go check out Comic Book Investments for, inspiring this video that I made for you guys to enjoy. So, if you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more comic book content like this, make sure to smash that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next video.